It's not paused. Awesome. Uh, to begin, let's just get the easy part out of the way, the animation part, or it should be easy to a certain extent. So if I hit, what do I hit? If I hit I on the keyboard, that is how to insert a keyframe, right? And I can base a keyframe on location, rotation, scale, or you can have combinations. So you can kind of paint everybody with the same brush. I literally just want to move this cube from left to right. So the analogy would be in your communication, I want to take my text and move it into the frame so you can see it. Or I want to take my snowman and move them out of the scene, whatever. Just basic up, down, whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to do any of the box jumping or the exaggeration and all the other stuff. This just locks it in. So at frame 1, we always start on frame 1, which is over here. I can hit I to insert, and I'm going to say add a keyframe based on that location and that rotation. Then I just grab the blue scrubber, same as in Adobe Animate, to say frame 70, and then grab my cube, and we know the X, Y, and Z. So I'm going to take and hit G and go along the Y axis, and then I'm going to hit I again and hit a keyframe around rotation, or location and rotation, and literally it moves. That's all there is to animation right now. We don't want to get in now. There's a whole bunch of stuff based on animation. I don't want to overwhelm anybody, so I'm not going to get into a dope sheet and show you how to be able to do that. I can get into a little bit of that later on, but right now, this is literally how you would be able to kind of move some of the things that you've kind of made in Blender and do it that way. So find something, move it. I know that sounds really basic, but the majority of this is going to be spent on the next part. Okay. You're going to be given footage. So this is what you kind of look like right now, the future of what you're building, right? You kind of know how to do a particle system, right? And I don't want particles inside my house, but that's okay. A little bit of a backdrop. I could take this. This is a plane, right? So literally think of Pixlr, and I could go into that program and make a backdrop of, a room or a living room and have a fireplace there or a mantle or like pictures on the wall and import that as a texture. And now that's the back of what I see here. This is the green screen footage that's already prearranged. I went into Sketchfab and downloaded a window, so I don't have to do it because that looks like a lot of work, and I don't want to do that, so I just use theirs. And then I kind of situated it all up, and now when I kind of play this a little bit, right, Santa's in there checking presents, and I can make this kind of pull back and then have a Merry Christmas. I go out from think of you built a house, put Santa in the house, right? Carve out a little spot for him, and then you have a camera kind of animate back, and then it just says Happy Holidays. But you could be in there, and we can add some textures, and now this looks like you're in a 3D world in a sense. Okay, more so than you just kind of using layering. So how do we get to that? So let's just get into a new general thing. We're not going to save that. Oh, that hurts. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just prep my Blender file. So I'm going to get rid of my master cube here. I'm going to hit 1, and that puts me in the front orthographic. That's just so that every time I enter something, I'm always in this perspective, so I can kind of keep everything straight. Because if I'm doing a little bit of a plan, I might want my house to be all in one plane, so I don't have to think about it. So I hit 1, so it's always the front perspective. Okay. Next thing is, let's turn on that image as planes thing. So you go to Edit, Preferences, go up to here, make sure Enabled Add-ons Only is turned off, and type in image, and then it's image as planes. Okay, and just turn that on. So that allows me to take footage and bring it into Blender. Okay, and that's how we do. You can have like pre-key footage of mist and smoke and fire, and actually bring that stuff in and add it with 3D, and it gives the illusion and just adds more of a heightened experience for your 3D animation. So that's already turned on. Let's just get out of here and get to Blender. You're going to have this thing right here, which is a zip file, right? You have to download it to your computer. When you have it downloaded to your computer, you have to unzip it. And I don't want to assume that everyone knows how to do that right away, but really all you're going to do is you're going to right click and go extract all. And it'll say, where do you want to extract it? And it probably is going to be right next to it. And I already have one, so it'll end up giving you this, okay? Which is the footage of Santa Claus at the green screen. Problem is, we have to get that out. We have to remove the green screen, okay? So we haven't talked a ton about After Effects, but this is the footage that we're going to bring in, okay? So After Effects, you go to your Creative Cloud. After Effects is literally this thing right here. You would hit Open, okay? And you would get After Effects. Now I'm going to start from scratch so we can see what I did all over again, okay? So After Effects is going to boot up. or shut down. We'll boot it back up again. And all we have to do is import footage, remove the green screen, and export it. That's all we have to do. And hopefully this will, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is what you see with After Effects. Warning, yeah, don't worry about warnings. Okay, we're making a new project. We're not opening a new one, like we're making a new one. So you get this screen. Don't worry about any of this. Here are the steps. Right click, import my footage. It is a file. Same thing as if you to upload it to Google Drive. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to find our green screen footage of Santa Claus with a green screen. So we click on that and hit import. And you can see you get a little thumbnail. And I'd like to spend more time on After Effects, but we're just running out of time. But this is a pretty powerful program to do some really neat things with motion graphics. It does green screen removal. You can bring 3D models in here. And more of a compositor program. So you can kind of blend things a little bit better for a final product. This in conjunction with Blender, super powerful. Anyway, when we have this footage, you have to, when this was recorded, it was recorded with certain dimensions, resolution, a certain type of camera, right? In order to make this work, rather than writing that all down, you want to plug in the metadata that is associated with this clip. So in order to do that, the only thing I need you to do is there's a little icon here next to the rocket. You need to click and drag that to this, which creates a composition, and all the camera sets are locked in, and it gives you the right size footage for you. So it does it all for you. You literally have to go drag to this and let go. Okay? And it's all lined up. Okay, and then you can kind of look at what it is, and it's just literally shaking a box, whatever, that's fine. The next step, in order to get rid of the green screen, 2 clicks and you're done, because this is that's why we shoot things on a green screen. It's evenly lit, so I'm just going to grab the 1 pixel, and it'll remove everything. So I go up to an effect, which is what I'm trying to add, and you go to this thing called keying, and it's called key light. And the monitor shuts off. We'll turn it back up again. Okay, it doesn't like key light. Keying, key light. This little program, we want to go use this little eyedropper and select the sample of the color that we want. So screen color, eyedropper, click, green screen's gone. And it's gone on every single frame. Okay, we're done. All we got to do is export this, and we can bring this into Blender. So we're going to go to File, and we want to export it, and we're going to use this thing, Render Queue, okay, right in the middle. So we're going to set it up, and then you get this option, and I'll bring this up here. 2 things you got to do here. 1, where's my footage going? I got to know that so I can import it back into Blender. So we can click on this and set that up. You can probably make it a desktop. Make sure you click this thing, make a subfolder, because what's going to happen is we are rendering out every single frame of this footage, because that works really well with Blender. So if you don't do this, you'll have 400 images on your desktop. You want this all in a folder. Helpful hint, click on this, and then it goes into a folder for you. Okay, and I'm just going to change the name of it because I already did it. And we'll just say this is my footage _ for Blender. I'm probably at 7 minutes right now as far as talking. So we hit save. The only other thing I got to do is hit this little thing where output module. And this, just so you understand, allows me to export the footage into a variety of formats. QuickTime, JPEG, AVI, those type of things. Blender works really well with TIFF sequences. TIFF means that I render each image as a really nice Photoshop image with high definition, right? Rather than a movie file where it can kind of get compressed. So really all you have to do is go TIFF sequence. The only other thing outside of that is we need an alpha channel for Blender. So where it says channels and RGB, we want RGB plus alpha. And then you're done. When that's done, you just come over, hopefully, you crash the computer. No, we're still good. Hang on. We're not good. There we are. And then we just hit render. And this thing cooks a little bit. So you see the little progress bar going, and it's literally rendering out each frame. It's removing all the green. It's making an alpha channel. And then there's 2 little clicks that we do in Blender, and you actually brought in green screen footage into Blender. So the longest part of this is waiting for this to kind of be done. I don't necessarily need it, but we can move on. I don't have to wait for it because I already did it. So there's my footage right there. What does it look like? Thousands of little Santas, okay? And if I didn't put this in a folder, think how much that would really clutter up my desktop and make it a really bad day. Okay, so make sure you hit that subfolder thing. You might have to pause, play the video to get through this. Okay. The next thing is let's bring this stuff into Blender so we can start using it. Okay, so I'm going to go into my Blender file. Now, in order to call up the image as planes, you guys have done, the real snow and the other Boolean tools, and that stuff usually houses over here, but the image as planes does not. You have to hit a button on your keyboard to make that happen, and it's F3 on your keyboard. So if you look at your keyboard, right along the top from the escape line over, there's a button in there that says F3. If I push that, it's like a search function, and it finds all the functions that Blender can do. And then you literally just type in image as planes, and then you'll see there it is. So it brings it up for you. And you click on it, and then it says, okay, well, where's the footage that you have? Okay, well, it's on my desktop, and it's probably called this little file. There's all my Santas. Okay, I want to hit A to select all of them. I have to hit, it's an animate image sequence. So I want this thing to be put together to make it a movie. So I click on that. And I want it to be an emitter so that that footage is projected onto this plane. So you click that, and then you're done. It shows up. There's the plane. Now, it's looking opposite from where I am. So for me, I'm going to say, well, there's the Z-axis. I want to rotate it around the Z-axis, spin it like a top. So I'm going to hit rotate, Z-axis, 90. And I got a mirror modifier going on there. I don't know why, but anyway, you're not seeing anything yet, but let me get rid of my mirror modifier. Anyway, I don't know why I have two. Maybe I had two planes. But anyway, and now when I look at it, there is Santa, and the frames per second are a little slow, but it'll kind of load in the cache, and you'll be able to see it. And now you have your animated Santa footage where you can then go and make a little world. So you can sit Santa in your snow pile that you made yesterday. You can have snow falling on Santa. You can have your text. So if you still have your blend file that you want to add, you can. But obviously the bulk of this is, I have green screen footage. There's me waving. How am I going to get that into Blender? I go into After Effects. I remove the green. I render it out so that it's TIFF sequence with an alpha channel. And then I bring that into Blender using that image as planes. Okay. So I don't think it's going to be too hard for anyone to animate a box. And I don't really care. You can literally animate the default cube. That just shows me that, I hit I to insert a keyframe on location, rotation, whatever you want, and then go in the timeline, move the box again, and you're done. This is where you're probably going to spend a little bit of time getting this done because this is like the higher level stuff and makes all those other things you learned. Now you can be really creative. Like this is virtual production. You can put yourself in a city. You can put yourself on the spaceship Starship Enterprise. You can do a variety of things with green screen footage and 3D modeling now all together. Okay, so that is the video. Edit.